Morning. How are you guys?
Doing quite well. Are you still skinny?
I've never been skinny, man. I've seen people go like, "Oh, look how thin he is." Let's be honest. I'm not thin. I just took off the weight of a small teenager.
Oh, you hear that, Dead Eyes?
And that made me somewhat more presentable. But trust me, you don't want to see me out of this hockey jersey. Like I look like I got Quado living in me.
Well, it was funny because every headline was like, Kevin Smith loses 85 pounds. And then I go, and your Twitter says, I just had poutine. It was like cheese curds and street meat given a BJ in my mouth. And I was like, well, that sums up poutine pretty well, but I don't think he's going to keep the weight off with that poutine diet.
Not at all. You got to keep it rare. You got to keep that to the minimum. I just eliminated sugar. Cheese, oddly enough, dairy. Like I'm still a dairy whore. Like I'll do immoral things to people for milk. You can't take milk away from me. You could take weed away from me before you take milk. Like milk's what I run on now.
Well, cheese is one of the world's best inventions.
You ain't getting that's spoiled milk. Like that's like basically milk that like you can't let go of because you love milk so much. So you're like, all right, it's cheese now. So I've got that in the diet. A lot of veggies and stuff I haven't put in my body like ever in my life. Like the dude at Robex talked me into putting in a beet. He's like, yo, you should try a beet. And I was like, what's that do? And he's like, it tastes dirty, but it's amazing.
It does.
He added the beet, and once that got added, that's insane. That's like a little tip for anybody out there. Anybody who can't afford Viagra, put a beet in your life, man. Every day. Like, I put a beet into my veggie drink. I went home, and I was all over my wife like a teenager, man. It would not stop. It was like she wanted it to stop. You know, after a certain point, she was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm not. It won't quit. The beet is very much like natural Viagra.
That's why they call it beating off.
Do you think so? I mean, oh, my Lord. Anybody that's got issues in that area or whatnot, throw a beet, but don't eat it because they taste like dirt.
I know. They taste horrible. That's what every time I've put it in my juice, I feel like it permeates and ruins the whole juice for me, and then it stays with me all day.
It does taste like the earth just took a dump in your mouth. And what comes out of it is tremendous. I can actually vouch for it.
Well, there's a lot of out-of-shape fat guys that looked at you as their kind of big, fat, rotund god. But then there was this weird, healthy Kevin Smith backlash, and people are like, is he going to start wearing skinny jean shorts? And, well, you're selling out, man. You're going Hollywood now.
It was like the opposite of fat shaming.
Definitely some cats that were just like, you getting healthy is either the apocalypse or betrayal of everything we stood for. I've lived eating packaged food 44 years. Let me just try 1 year of living the way they're saying to live. Like, just eliminate. Let me see if I could take sugar. I quit cigarettes once, so it was easy because I started smoking weed instead. But I still quit cigarettes. So I was like, maybe if I could just try quitting sugar, not forever, because, like, you know, you say that and then suddenly you freeze up. But I just told myself, I was like, sugar ain't going anywhere. The president's not going to outlaw sugar while you're gone. So.
Yeah, it'll be there when you get back.
Oh, it'll always be waiting. Like, come on, fat boy, here we are. Remember our happy childhood together? Come sit with us again. Lay like Jabba on your side. It'll always be there waiting for me like a forgiving ex-lover. But I just wanted to see if I could do it without sugar. And first 2 weeks were really tough. I would have filleted anybody for some Lucky Charms. Just right in the mouth, all oral action, man, in exchange for something sweet. But once I got past first 2 weeks, like anything, you create a new neural pathway, and suddenly you're like, oh.
Was Jason Mewes supportive of this, or did he think that this was ridiculous, that your demons were sugar?
He thought it was kind of like, dude, like, especially when I was like, I'm depressed. He was like, dude, I quit heroin. Heroin and OxyContin, dude. Yeah. He's like, I used to do coke, crystal meth. Like, these things are hard to leave behind. He's like, sugar? And I was like, yeah, man, but I've been a sugar junkie my whole life from birth forward. So while I was in the midst of it, I was like, oh, this is what I get for making fun of Jason Mewes for the last years. And it's just so shameful that the monkey was sugar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, at least, like, Jason's addictions were kind of sexy, you know, like, you get away from them, they're even sexier. Like, I quit heroin, and people are like, what a hard ass. When you're like, I quit sugar, people are like, why?
Yeah. But what about the dieting stoner community? Because I feel like as soon as you smoke weed, it's like sugar is your best friend. They go hand in hand.
I've been really good about that, man. That's why I think it was all possible. Like, I've been a hardcore stoner now, Wake and Baker, since I was 38. Prior to that, never. A lot of people think like I made those movies as a stoner. Not at all. A lot of that was guesswork and whatnot. But as I grew older, after I did Zack and Miri Make a Porno, I worked with Seth Rogen. And I was like, this guy's a stoner. Look how productive he is. You know, it's not like the common stoner that I was sold in the 80s. And unlike Jason, who had stopped very briefly at weed on his way to the Heroin Express, like here was Seth just smoking weed and being way productive. He always had a bunch of things going on. He wasn't like, let's sit on the TV on the couch and watch TV. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. And so I started putting it into my life age 38. The weird thing is it never gave me the munchies. I mean, let's be honest. Before weed, I just had a constant case of the munchies. It was just more of the same. The nice thing, though, was, you know, THC stores and fat cells, and I had lots of those. So, you know, I was storing it up like Superman stores solar energy from Earth's yellow sun, and that's what makes them strong and stuff. I had a bunch of THC in me, just always floating around in me, trapped in these fat cells. So if I broke a sweat, I get a little buzz. It was
wow.
Oh.
Kind of nice. That's a secret. A lot of people don't know that, man. You stir your THC and fat cells. So essentially, if you exercise, even if you haven't like smoked weed in a while, when you bust open those lipids, like the THC is released, and you get yourself a little high.
That's a way better trick than scraping resin off the back of your Coke can bong.
When I exercise, I really feel high.
Yeah.
So, you know, it gave me an incentive to walk up this hill and stuff like that. But it's never made me want to eat more.
Hey, Kevin, where do you get your weed? Where does Kevin Smith get his weed? Do you go into a store? Or do you have a guy that shows up in a Camaro? How does it work?
There's a dude.
There's
You know, that's how. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, there's a dude. There's many happy dudes and dudettes. But a lot of people, you know, in the green community, once they hear you're part of it, they're like, "Oh my Lord, you got to try mine" and stuff.
How many fans come up and try to just say, "Hey, here's is for you. Take this. This is yours."
A lot. Everywhere I go, people are like, "I would love to smoke with you," or blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome." But usually when they catch me, it's after the show, and I'm on my way to the hotel and stuff. Maybe if I was like single and stuff, I'd be like, "Oh my God, let's all smoke weed together." But I'm a married man. I got a kid at home and stuff, and I got my own weed, which is always like, you know, I appreciate it, especially like people looking out for you when you're in different towns away from home and stuff. Here, it comes down to this. When people go, "Hey man, I rolled you this," or "This is my select," like that, I know that weed is that person's like, that's a big deal. That's, you know, that's why it's such a cool gesture and stuff. But chances are when they give it to me, I'm not going to smoke it before I have to get on a plane the next day. So, you know, I've learned historically whatever they give me at shows winds up going to the person who drives me to the airport. There's always a lucky cab driver or...
Well, yeah, I volunteer to drive you to the airport anytime.
You don't even need to drive me to the airport. Just hang out with me at a show. Like, I'm coming to town for the shows. Come hang out with me.
Yes.
And, like, when people are like, "Here, man, this is for you," I'll say thank you. And then I'll pass it off to you, and you'll be stocked for a year.
Perfect.
On the other hand, I'm going to wait by your treadmill and drink your weed sweat.
It's weird. If you wait long enough in life, I find you try hard enough and you seed the earth, all your dreams can come true. They just never come true when you want them to or in the exact way you want them to and stuff. But oddly enough, things that you aim for in life, you can hit. I watched this movie Bill Murray was in, Where the Buffalo Roam. And when he gets on stage, you know, they introduce him, he comes out, and like people start throwing joints up on the stage. And I remember watching that as a kid and being like, that's so weird. Like, isn't that illegal? Like, where are the cops? It's crazy. Years later, I am that guy, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
It all comes full circle.
whenever that happens, I go, God, man, when I was a kid, I saw this in a movie, and I thought that was the weirdest thing. So
It's funny you say that because the first time I encountered a woman with a third nipple, I was like, man, this is full circle. I remember encountering that early on.
I saw this in a movie once.
Yeah, I saw this in a movie.
just kept saying, be
One of these
patient.
days. Although I was not patient.
If you wait long enough, you'll meet someone with three nipples.
Kevin Smith is going to be at Cobb's Comedy Club. 2 shows on August 23rd. All right, Useless Weirdo is a film buff. He's a huge fan. He knows your entire career. He's got one question. We always let him end the interview with one question of his own.
All right, we good?
All right, here it is. Useless Weirdo's question for a celebrity, Kevin Smith.
Hey, Mr. Smith.
Oh, boy, here it goes already. Come on, get the question out.
All right, so I know you've written for both Batman and Superman, so I was just curious if you have someone who you're rooting for.
I'm sorry. That is all of our time with Kevin Smith today. Oh, man, he never gets the question on.
Wait, I must get on the record for this young gentleman. It's important.
All right, go ahead.
All right, hands down, it's good. I'm rooting for Batman, even though by all logic he should get his ass kicked by an alien god. That's why we like Batman so much. So I root for Batman. I can't imagine Superman that wins.
Hey, quickly, speaking of Batman, are you and Ben Affleck friends again now, or?
I mean, I don't know. Does friendship ever stop? He didn't send me a letter ever going like, "We're done, we're through." But I haven't seen him in years.
Because I read somewhere that you thought Jennifer Garner was the reason he wasn't allowed to hang out with you, and now that she's like not in the picture anymore, I wasn't sure if that's
I
like.
know that was the last Comic-Con. Like I was doing an interview and I made a joke, and they built an entire article around it. And I thought, oh man, now I am going to hear from him. I haven't heard from him in a while, and I thought maybe he'd be like, what the hell? But no, not at all. I guess he sees a lot of ink about himself all the time, so I doubt he even noticed that.
Well,
Right, so I have to keep track.
All right, go to Cobb's Comedy, and we'll tweet out all the information. 2 shows on the 23rd, and when you're in town, man, we'd love to hang out. All right?
I would love to come in, but you guys are always so busy.
No, we will make time for you.
We will make
Don't
time.
worry.
Really? All right, done and done, man. Because I'm the kind of guy. I'm there for like 2 days, I think. So
Good.
I'm the kind of
We'll
guy
take you for
who
both of
sit
them.
in.
Thanks, Kevin Smith. Be good, man.